Hello and welcome to Coral Gables Television Studios. I'm Brianna Moles. On this episode of Coffee Talk, we'll be talking about a new multi-million-dollar makeover that's going to be happening for Downtown Coral Gables. Here to give us all the details is Burton Hersh, who's the president of the Business Improvement District. Hi Burton, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Brianna. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit first about the mission of the Business Improvement District, otherwise known as the BID?
The mission of the BID is to advocate on behalf of the property owners as well as the merchants, our members, and to provide marketing for the downtown and the other BID streets.
This big concept for the new Streetscape project, how did this originally come to be?
It has been a topic of conversation for decades. In 2007, the BID board decided to make it its #1 priority and to actually do something about it. So the BID formed a committee, and the committee was facilitated by Chuck Bowl of the University of Miami and Jaime Carrere, urbanist professors at the University of Miami. And we came out with a design. We took the design to the city and went through a process of working with the city manager's office. Eventually it was taken to commission and it was passed 5-0 to take it to the next step, to get to develop it and to get some estimates on what it would cost to implement it.
And so what are some of the main exciting features that would be part of this new renovation of downtown?
It's got a lot of exciting features. The most important is if you were to take a knife and cut Miracle Mile right down from curb to curb, you would see 80% of the street is for cars and 20% is for people. But if you look at great cities and great streets, you find the relationship is more 50-50. 50-50 cars, 50-50 people. We studied Las Ramblas, Aix-en-Provence, and we looked at many of the great streets in America. And what we came up with, we didn't get quite to the 50-50 mix, but we did come up with what would be 60% vehicular and 40% people, which is doubling the amount of the amount that people can use. And what that does, it supports a sidewalk model that's called SHOP, S-H-O-P. Where the street is the sidewalk is divided into zones. There's the S zone, which is a storefront zone, which is for looking in shoppers, because we want lots of shoppers.
Of course.
And then there's H, which is the hallway, which is where people walk. There's O, which is the outside space, which is for dining, art display, and anything else creative people can think of.
Okay.
And then, of course, the P is for parking. So by reconfiguring Miracle Mile, what this new design allows us to do is allows us to take back another 20% of the street section for people.
And also, you were mentioning before, some of the more detailed aspects of the design include these movable bollards or gates. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Sure. What I first described was Miracle Mile. Part of this project is improvements to Giralda, or what's called Restaurant Row, although it's really not all restaurants. Currently, that street section is 25% pedestrian and 75% cars. The solution for Giralda is what's called a shared street, which is a street that has no curb, is paving from decorative paving from street front to street front. And sometimes it's all people, and sometimes it's cars, and sometimes it's both. And it would have bollards at each end when you want to turn the city into a festive outside area like we do for Giralda Under the Stars.
Right.
And there are a few examples of it in the United States, one being in Rodeo Drive. Sometimes they bring out temporary plants into the middle of the street. Sometimes who knows what can happen there.
Sure.
It's become fashionable in Europe, and I think it's gonna be the talk of the county.
I think so
It's
too.
going to be a phenomenal fit space.
Being able to pull up the gates for big events, like you said, or even festivals, special occasions, definitely gives it a whole new feel. I think it will revive the downtown in terms of entertainment and tourism. It definitely makes it a very pedestrian-friendly zone. It basically becomes a promenade once you put up the gates.
At the end of the day, people want to be around people, and people like to see people.
Exactly.
It's one of the successes of why Miami Beach is so successful, why Mary Brickell, because there's a lot of people, and people like seeing people.
Exactly.
And we hope to have more people down here, more guests, and to make the downtown a destination, which has always been our goal.
The main goal.
Yeah.
And back to the parking, I know there's going to be an enhanced valet option and also parking garages.
There is going to be. Right now, I think we have 232 spaces on Miracle Mile. At the end of at the end of the day, we're going to probably lose around 100 to 116. However, we're going to gain 8 valet parking spaces, and each valet parking space parks 10,000 cars a year.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to get 8 of those.
Wow.
So it mitigates a lot of the loss because the valet spaces are so efficient. And of course, the lost spaces will be replaced by spaces gained in the garage projects.
It would be nice to be able to have more accessible parking, definitely, in Miracle Mile and the rest of downtown. And another huge part of the Streetscape project is also bringing the sidewalks up to grade, which I think is going to improve the water drainage. Is that right? So hopefully there'll be no more puddles to jump over.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to swim out there or take our canoes out there when this is done. That's true.
That's good. That's good. What about any green or eco-friendly features that are part of the planning? Is there anything that's in sync with that, maybe?
Yeah, one of the problems that we have right now is that we do have already a lot of trees. But unfortunately, the trees are what's pushing up the sidewalks. That's why you have a lot of land. But there's a way to handle that technically. So a lot of the work will be to properly install trees in beds that can contain the root systems. And therefore protect it from getting into the stormwater system.
I see. And the extra shading might be nice for the outdoor diners, of course.
It should be wonderful.
Perfect. And so as far as I know that the project has just been approved, but there's still some things that need to be finalized.
A couple things, right?
But in terms of the projected start date and timeline, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I believe in 2 years from now, maybe 18 months if we're very lucky, we'll be done, and we're going to have tons of visitors and tons of people looking at our store windows and dining on our streets, and it should be a great place to be.
2 years isn't that long to wait, so I think we can do that. It'll definitely be worth the wait. And one of my last questions for you, it's been stated that in the construction, it's going to be done in phases to make it as least disruptive for the store owners and the visitors. So is it true that it'll be done one block at a time and also mostly at nighttime?
I understand that there will be some night work. That's not finally worked out, but that's what they're thinking. But I think it might be not so much a block at a time, but maybe in like a checkerboard pattern.
Oh, okay.
They'll analyze what blocks have what uses, and maybe this block may be better done at a certain time of the year than this block.
Okay.
So, hopefully there's going to be some brain power going, some thinking going. Well, I'm sure there will be.
Sure.
And they'll think it through, and they'll do it in a proper manner. It's been done before in a good way. Fort Myers was very successful in when they did their streetscape. So we trust that the experts that the city finally hires will put a great plan together and how to actually implement the construction. Also, the Business Improvement District has an execution committee, which will be looking at ways to help people that are under construction. Perhaps there'll be a red carpet, maybe some trees, temporary landscape.
Okay.
We're going to have block parties.
Very nice.
So we're going to have a good time. So even during construction.
Wonderful.
And we're going to do everything we can to help those that are on the operating table.
It sounds like you want everyone to enjoy the process.
It is possible.
Okay.
It's probably not logical, but I think it's possible.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great minds at work to make this plan
Yeah.
as perfect as possible, so I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And you can get all the latest updates on the Downtown Coral Gables Streetscape project at shopcoralgables.com. That's all for this edition of Coffee Talk. Remember, you can watch us on Comcast Channel 77 or AT&T UVerse Channel 99 or on demand at coralgables.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/coralgablestv. For Coral Gables TV, I'm Brianna Moles. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.